Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for a couple years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we were shipping out today on Friday, but it's been such a great week for quantity, and even like sales-wise kind of gets backed up by the quantity. I mean, sometimes I sell like lower end stuff, but it's been really good for the past few days, so I'm just like super ecstatic. I've been listing a bunch too. All right, so I'm just going to jump right into it. So the first thing was going to be a combo order. It was going to be, I got a bunch of Zombicide stuff. I think it was second edition. I just kind of like, I've only played Zombicide once in 2013, long time ago. That's more than 10 years ago at this point. So I'm not like fully aware of all the stuff. I do know it's super popular. It's by Cool Miniatures or not. It wasn't my type of game, but like I had to figure out how to piece these together. So these right here are Zombicide Abomination. I think some like extra little Abomination cards where the zombies are going to be slightly stronger. And then the person also bought like the Walker cards. They're numbered 1 through 40, not 0. These two end up selling for $22 for that. All right, moving along, we sold this catalog right here. This is kind of one of those, what's this one called? It's called Gander. But yeah, I got a bunch of these like outdoors, like shooting, hunting rifle, not sporting equipment, like outdoor, equipment catalogs and magazines of various sorts. There was one that was called like American Rifle, I think. So this was just in that batch of catalogs and stuff. I got this alongside the fashion catalogs. Those are actually way more popular than these ones. But yeah, this is a small little catalog. This one is, I think it's from like 2005 or something like, yeah, July 2005. This ended up selling for $12. All right, next up is going to be 3 Mech Warrior figures. These are the Steel Wolves faction, Mech Warriors by WizKids. You get a bunch of mechs and tanks and like infantry as well, and there's also like little infantry and bikes. So I did a bunch of lots with the particular factions together. Then I did individual ones because I'm like, you know what? I just want to see. Normally I do the Mech Warrior stuff with lots, and I wanted to see if I can get a little bit more with individuals. And then the lots have been doing slightly better than the individuals. These are 3 individual tanks. I had quantity of 2 on this particular one. These sold for $25.47. So I basically got the price of what I would have done for a lot of like 15, 20, 25 of them. So there's more money, but they are moving slower because now I have to find someone that wants like individual pieces to the game. But I just want to try out. So that was pretty good though. Good money for that. All right, moving along, we had another interesting thing. This is going to be Warhammer 40K. It's like an older book. We have this one right here, Shadow War Armageddon. It's just going to be like an old source book where there's like some kind of rules or something. I'm not sure if this is like a scenario book. It's not an army book, but yeah, people like to pick up the old Warhammer stuff, even if it's not the recent thing. So this sold for $20.25. And then immediately right after, because I'm letting you guys know like the order of stuff that sold. Well, I guess the first thing I went through, like the Zombicide, is actually the most recent thing that sold, like the last thing, versus when I go all the way to the bottom, it's the first thing that sold like midday yesterday. We sold another one of these Shadow War Armageddon 40K source books, same price, $20.25. I had 2 listed. I was then at the storage units and I had a note that I actually had 1 more of these. So I sat there and made myself a little like photo station. I used like the white boxes from the lids from the the boxes. I have the bankers boxes, and then I just kind of make it as like a backdrop. And then I take pictures of everything. So I listed this one. It had a little bit of creases and wear on the bottom right here, like very light. I mentioned it in the pictures. Most like half of my pictures showed like the little bit of peeling and wear. It's not a big deal. Just I want to let someone know. I listed it for $5 higher because I'm like, oh, if these 2 other ones sold, maybe something happened. Like maybe there's like a new edition. I don't think there is. I asked a Warhammer person. They weren't really aware of why these were selling quickly yesterday. And then I listed this. And then literally 5 minutes later, I get an offer for $25. So I got a little bit more for this one. So I listed it for $30 instead of the $20.25. So yeah, something's going on with that. That's awesome. I have like a bunch of like an old source book. I always like to respect this kind of stuff because I know that there's a lot of people that they don't always have to play the newest thing. And then also sometimes it's expensive for people in these hobbies to only do the new thing. A lot of people like to, like myself included, I play a lot of like old video games I've bought a long time ago. I still use them. So it's not like I'm always only buying new video games and only playing the newest thing. All right, moving along. Speaking of new video game, kind of, Vanetta's been playing the remaster for Oblivion, which so she's been having a lot of fun. It's been fun watching her. I've technically never played it. I've only played Skyrim, and then I think she likes Morrowind the best, but she likes this remaster. All right, moving along, we have this board game, 3rd edition, Twilight Imperium Shards of the Throne expansion. This is 90% complete. I think the only things it's missing is the plastic ships, which is a shame. I think people can still make do and make their own little ships because all the cards, the rules, the cardboard tokens, the plastic bits are there. So yeah, it's literally only missing, I think, the ships. I would have to go through my listing to make sure again, or like right now as I'm talking about it, I already went through it when I listed it. This game's interesting because, as you can see, it's a super popular sci-fi game. Really cool art, and I do agree that the art's pretty cool. There's a lot of lore. You play like an alien faction, and you're fighting over like planets, give you political power. There's gonna like be some bids for like event cards and different stuff. And then I think the point of the game is you're doing like you have objectives, so you're trying to get so many objectives. The first one to get, I can't remember the numbers. I played the game twice. It's interesting because this board game's a top 20 board game, but for me, it's like probably my least favorite board game I've ever played. I've played a couple thousand. So if you're in the board game world, that's basically fighting words. But just because I don't like a game or didn't enjoy it doesn't mean that I'm not aware that this one's a super popular one. A lot of people like it. I essentially thought the game was too slow moving. So if someone thinks I don't like it because it's too complicated, that's not the case. I play Mage Knight by Vlad Schwartel. I play on like the hardest mode on that, literally super hard modes, and I almost get successful on them. That's a whole nother crazy different game. So I play a lot of complicated games. But yeah, it just happened to be I like the Eclipse, which is a different space game, which I think is just a little bit more snappier and more my speed. I just didn't like the slow moving aspect of Twilight Imperium. It is a game that takes like 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. It really depends on like how experienced the people are. Less experienced, if you have to teach someone, you're looking at the 8 to 10 hour range. You got to take breaks for food and bathroom breaks and stuff like that. I don't like the aspect of it. I could talk more about it, but I have to move on to the next thing. So yeah, sorry if you like that. I know it's fighting words, but I do understand people like that game. All right, so moving along, we have Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Which one was this one? Oh yeah, these were like these little bits and pieces or sprues. These ones I think were more complete. I don't see. It looks like they are. What were they called again? There's some kind of like faction with like their gold and blue or something. They have like hammers and stuff like that. So yeah, there's 3 of these little sprues. I think these are like 3 individual figures that they purchased. I don't think they're incomplete other than like you need a base, but people have like a lot of extra bases. You've seen me sell the bases here on the channel, like those circular things, the square things, the rectangle ones. Those aren't as hard to find as like the actual pieces or the figures. $23.99 for that. All right, next up is going to be this A17 Lee Grant tank right here. It's like a little plastic model kit. I got a bunch of these model kits. They did not have the boxes, which is not a big deal. I was lucky because I happened to have like the label of what it was. If that probably wasn't there, I was probably just going to take pictures and do my best at picking keywords of like vehicle, tank, and then showing really good pictures of the insides. But this ended up selling for $10.79. People like to do the model kits for cars, tanks, honestly, anything. People like Legos, all that kind of stuff. All right, next up is going to be another zombie side thing. A different person bought this. It's going to be the 2nd edition. Remember I told you I did a bunch of bits and pieces. This is going to be a deck of 40 zombies. Oh, I'm sorry. This one's labeled 1 through 40. The person who bought the combo order with the other zombie side stuff, they got, I think, 41 through 80. So yeah, there's just the different zombies that they want. They give the little stats and stuff on them. Yeah, this little deck sold for $11.24 on itself, so it was good to go through all the zombie side stuff. I still had a lot of other bits and pieces listed, and I still have some more to go through. All right, next up is going to be an individual Marx figure from the 1960s. Right here, we have this infantry. It's kind of a little gruesome because it's like his position is like almost like he just got shot and he's like going backwards, so which is pretty intense. They don't really have this like position, I think, in modern toy soldiers. People love the Marx stuff. Timmy. There was also like another, was it like MPC or something? I don't know. Sorry, it's been a bit. I got a bunch of that stuff and I had to go through, and it took a long time, but people have been buying them slowly and they do appreciate it. And I've made a lot of money from them. All right, moving along, we have this figure from Reaper Bone Miniatures. Reaper Bone Miniatures, they make a lot of like cheaper figures. They have vintage ones. I think they're still around. I'm pretty sure they're still around. This one's a metal one. This is a character. She's like Tara the Silent. There you go. She's gonna be like, if you're gonna play like some kind of like human or rogue elf in like a Dungeons and Dragons game, you're gonna want like a figure for it. If your dungeon master uses a map, which a lot of people do, some people still do theater of the mind with a pen and paper and then their imagination. But yeah, people like to pick up their individual characters. When they make a character, they kind of try to find a figure that looks like it, or the dungeon master picks a bunch of hero characters. They make like sheets for people, then they give them painted miniatures. Like, hey, pick someone, kind of like a video game. Like, choose your adventure. I used to think this stuff was going to be worth more. I've learned slowly, but I still like picking them up. That these cheaper miniatures, even the vintage ones, they'll still sell for a little bit. $8.44. But when I originally got some, I'm like, oh, these things are sealed and they're super vintage. There are some good ones. It really depends on like what you get and what you find. You just have to look it up. All right, moving along, we have this sci-fi spaceship. I couldn't figure out what it went to. I don't know if you can see because of the glare. It's pretty good quality, pretty good painted. I can't tell if it's like a metal or like a resin. It almost looks like custom. Like I said, I couldn't figure out what game it went to. It has a little hole in the bottom, meaning that it can go in one of those flight stands. But I was like, oh, this is a pretty good one. It's missing like a little part of the wing. I showed that in the pictures. It's not a big deal. Like from right here, you can't really tell unless if you know what you're looking for. So yeah, this ended up going for $14.99. People like to pick up all sorts of unique miniatures. I thought that one was cool. So even with the little broken part, but yeah. All right, someone else agreed and they purchased it. Next up, we have Audubon right here, a magazine. I'm not too sure what this one was when I was telling you about all these other like sporting equipment, the fashion catalogs. We also got other random magazines within that collection. This was just like the only Audubon magazine, so I'm not sure other than it just looks like a nature one. It's really pretty owl on the front. Owls are pretty cool birds. This ended up going for $7.20. All right, moving along, we have Warhammer 4th edition. I think these are 4th edition. These are going to be like different stat cards. I also got a bunch of these a bit ago. I even did a video on the channel about it, of like these. I showed like a whole table of stuff we had sourced recently, and then on the corner of the table was a box of just this Warhammer stuff that I had to dig through for the first time. So yeah, it just has different like characters, stats, point values. I'm not like fully sure if you like these are necessary or if they're just like a nice thing to have as like a reference card. They always have someone's like actual painted miniature on the front as like the photograph, as the art, so they're well done. These are older. These end up selling for $28 for the pair. A lot of those bits and pieces. I got like the templates for the area of effects. I got a bunch of cards. I got like big ones, small ones. I got like charts and tables. A lot of stuff's been selling since I listed them like a year ago. All right, moving along, we have this like sci-fi assassin little metal miniature, just an individual one right here, missing his like arms, or like he has his arms, like the first part of his arms, but he's missing the two arms and like probably, I'm assuming, a gun. I doubt it's like a sword in that position, so it is missing that. But I still listed that, and I thought someone might appreciate it. It says like assassin on it, so it's like some kind of like sci-fi assassin. It might go to a game. It couldn't identify it, so someone might know like what game, board game, miniature game it goes to, or it might just be like a random company, like the, where did I show you? Oh, like I don't even know where it is right now. Oh, the Reaper Bone miniature, just like how you could buy individual stuff. This ended up going for $8.99, which is pretty good. Last up is a thing I think I think we grabbed this a long time ago. This is Looney Tunes stuff is pretty popular, especially if you can get like vintage stuff. There are a lot of like fans. I would say it's like a smaller fan base, but people love to collect Looney Tunes. I mean, I watched a ton of Looney Tunes as a kid. I loved it. I think Annetta watched a bunch too. I like Bugs Bunny. I'm just gonna go into the story real quick. It's been driving Netta crazy. So she got normally we get like baby carrots to eat, but we end up getting just big carrots because she wanted to like cut them up and put them in like sandwiches and soups. And did she put it on pizza? I don't know what she put it on, but I've just been I'll wash them off. I'll just eat them raw, and I like it. But I literally every time I'm near her, I just have to say, "What's up, Doc?" like Bugs Bunny, and she's losing her mind. I've done it like 10 times. I can't not do it. So I feel bad for bothering her, but I just saw the Bugs Bunny and they reminded me of that. Sorry, that was a super side story. I did it last night, and then I ran away when I did it. I was like chewing a carrot. She's like, "What you eating?" I said, "What's up, Doc?" And then before she can get mad, I literally just went into the other room cracking up. All right, this is a Tasmania mug right here, Christmas one. Really cool collectible. Oh, there's also like an ornament that comes in here. I didn't realize that until I just read it. We got this a long time ago, probably at like an estate sale or a thrift store. We probably got this for like $5 or less, probably more in the $1, $2, or $3 range. We sold this for $22.50. I'm surprised it took a little bit longer to sell, but I guess that is a lot for like a mug and then an ornament. And then, like I said, you have to wait to find the Looney Tunes fans. All right, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Have a good one.